realizing that one of my biggest fear was losing everything like I'd watched my parents do over and over again. Hence why the program in me kept pushing regardless of what my body was telling me, regardless of the disease, regardless of the viruses, regardless of the depression, to keep pushing because you didn't want to end up like that. So I sort of flipped it. So I created a program within myself that was opposite to what I'd actually seen.
Hello, my loves. This is Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, and author. And I am obsessed with all things metaphysical, esoteric, galactic, and of course, the healing journey. And I'm here to share my stories, my wisdom, and my teachings about being human in the illusion that we call reality. Welcome to Cosmic Blonde.
Hello, my loves. Well, I'm excited for today's guest. We have Sharon Sammut, who is an entrepreneur of 18 plus years, a registered holistic health practitioner, and a PSYCH-K facilitator. After building a multiple seven-figure businesses in property and construction, Sharon experienced a deep awakening. True success means nothing without soul alignment. Today, she bridges business, holistic health, and subconscious empowerment, guiding women to reprogram limiting beliefs, embody high-frequency living, which I love, and create abundance across health, wealth, and relationships. Through her work, Sharon inspires others to break free from cycles of survival and step into their authentic power. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's nice and early here, as I've mentioned, so hoping it's all alive and awake.
Yes, she is coming to us from Australia very early in the morning. If we didn't need a reason to believe time isn't real, it's Thursday at 3 o'clock as I record this, and it's Friday, 6 a.m. for her. So
Absolutely.
there's your proof.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start about who you were and I'm really curious on who you were and how your ethic was and what you believed before your awakening, like how you operated before, and then we can dive into how you operated differently after.
Yeah, absolutely. So before, or part of me is that I do work really hard. I was running alongside my husband a construction company, which obviously took a lot of my time, my energy, having lots of staff members, cash flow, lawyers, accountants, you could imagine. It's constant, it's go, go, go. Basically, I was a problem solver. There would be problems. I'd have to manage those. So basically, I was 24/7 around the clock. I had twin boys, almost 18 years ago now. I started the company pregnant. So I was working at a corporate position at the time. We decided, hey, let's open a company when I'm 8 months pregnant, something we were both really keen to do. So I took maternity leave from my 9 to 5, started the company, set it up really quickly. Look, I knew where I was going, what I was doing. We'd been talking and planning for a long time. So it wasn't like 4 weeks and then I had bubs. But it was just go, go, go from the get-go. You know, having twins, running a company, I was constantly going. And there came a time about, I don't know, maybe it was during sort of just before the COVID period. I was not feeling well all the time. I was constantly getting viruses. My body was inflamed. I didn't listen and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until the days I'd walk into the office and I was in absolute pain all the time. But there was something inside me that said, you got to keep pushing. You can't fail in this. You need to keep going. Regardless of the disease, my programs were at the time that you need to keep pushing no matter what. And if it meant you getting sick, that's okay. It means you're working hard. It means you're doing the right thing. So I was constantly getting sick, body aching, constantly in survival mode, until one day I said to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I need to listen to what my body is saying. I feel I need to take a different direction in life. I wasn't being good. I wasn't making good choices for my body, my
Yeah.
relationships, food, alcohol, anything that would just get me by pretty much at this point, because I was living not knowing at that moment, but I was complete misalignment with what my heart was telling me, what my body was telling me, but my programs kept telling me to push forward. And I could have kept going that way, but who knows where I would have ended up. I wasn't healthy at all. So
Right.
now I still run a couple of companies. However, now I do it from a place of alignment. So I listen to my body. I take care of myself. I make sure I have energy. And if something doesn't feel right, I don't do it. If something doesn't make me happy, I don't do it. So the transformation for me was listening to what my soul, my body, my emotions, everything was telling me to now listen to those things when they come up. Because when you don't, it is detrimental to not only your physical health, your spiritual, mental, emotional as well. Obviously, I believe in a whole health model, which is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Wherever there's a block in those, higher levels, manifests as disease in the physical. And our body tells us we just need to listen.
I don't know how you didn't reach adrenal fatigue or burnout. I mean, just with the twins alone, I was a nomad and I had received a call from my sister-in-law who had, at the time, I think the twins were 3 months, and asked me to come stay with them for a while to help them. When I walked in that door, it was like their hair was on fire. Like his business was failing. She was dying, and they had one daughter and then fraternal twins. I can't imagine running multiple companies on top of having twins. Like I don't know how you did that. Did you just wake up one day and that was your awakening, was this epiphany, like I have to stop listening to my mind and start listening to my body, or was there more to the awakening than that?
Look, I was raised with my upbringing created a pretty strong backbone. Uh, there was a lot of uh, there was a lot of trauma growing up, so things made me stronger, I guess, when you look at it in retrospect. So for me, it really didn't at the beginning feel that hard having the twins and starting up the new company. It was when I was not making good choices for myself and doing all of that it started hurting. So I guess the transformation came from maybe look, it looked like depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And I had obviously from a very young age been looking at holistic health modalities, Chinese medicine. So I was aware what my body was telling me, but I just didn't want to listen at that
Yeah.
point. And like I said, it was knocking, and it's just getting louder and louder. But more so for me, the way the business was running wasn't aligned with who I was anymore. I
Right.
was, like I said, the problem solver. And then I got to a point where I couldn't even solve problems. I'd go to bed every night with a problem and wake up with the same problem. It was like my resilience was, fading away. And there was physical signs of this happening.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of inflammation in the body, foggy mind. And you can make a choice, right? You can keep on living that way, as a majority of people do because they don't like change, or you can make that decision and you can be brutally honest with yourself and, see where those blocks are, see what's going on, and make an effort to shift them.
So, what did you do to help shift those programs? Because you can make a decision, I need to do something differently, but that old programming is still there. That old programming is still going to fight to stay alive, right? So, what did you do to come to work through that?
Well, firstly, I had to build the courage.
Yeah, for
Tell
sure.
my husband that this company that was the foundation of everything, our home, our kids' life, our cars, our clothes, everything. This company was that foundation. It provided that. So I was about to walk in to a room and have a really firm discussion. And I had to work up the courage to do that. Yeah. And I had to sit with myself and be sure that was where I wanted to go. Because once I walked away, I knew that a lot of it was on me. So a lot of it would crumble,
Right.
as I thought. But so then I started learning PSYCH-K. This showed up in my life. And I started understanding the subconscious mind and the programs that we carry with us from childhood into our adult life. And I had a lot of dark survival programs in my life. A big fear, my biggest one for me was realizing that one of my biggest fear was losing everything like I'd watched my parents do over and over again. Hence why the program in me kept pushing regardless of what my body was telling me, regardless of the disease, regardless of the viruses, regardless of the depression, to keep pushing, because you didn't want to end up like that. So I sort of flipped it. So I created a program within myself that was opposite to what I'd actually seen. So I started understanding through PSYCH-K the subconscious mind, the power of the subconscious mind, the fact that from the ages of 0 to 7, we're living in hypnosis. Now, when you are so young, or well, in my case, there was a lot in my environment that wasn't positive.
Right.
I'm talking domestic violence, mental alcoholism, a lot of things that I saw in those first foundational years that are my programs. So I started learning this, and basically every day I started learning more. It's like the 1% every day, the shifts, so transformation isn't necessarily a big bang like many people I guess many people talk about. Yeah, some people do wake up one day and they're like, whoa. But for the majority of us, it's the 1% shifts every day, the 1% in awareness that takes you to the next awareness, to the next awareness. So it's a journey, and it's a journey I had to fall in love with and appreciate and learn to forgive. There was so many steps. Learn to love myself, learn that, when these things come up. But from that, I guess I got that information starting from PSYCH-K, but then all of the other people, all of the other awareness started coming into my life because I started living in that frequency. So I started making better choices for my health. I started making better choices with the people I surrounded myself with. I started making better choices for my family. So all those things compounded into my transformation.
What is PSYCH-K? I've never even heard of this modality.
Yeah, so PSYCH-K is all about the subconscious mind. So recognizing a block, this can be anything. This can be in your business, it can be in your health, it can be in your weight, it can be in your health, it can be in anywhere, but just noticing where something is not aligned with you at this point, at any given moment, and just coming to that awareness and then telling yourself how you want it to be instead. And we do this using muscle testing. We communicate with the subconscious mind using muscle testing. There's protocols that we go through, a lot of whole brain theory, using the left and right hemispheres of the brain to come up with a new way of being. And once you come up with that new way of being, so basically, put it simply, the opposite of what you're wanting to shift. So let's give an example. Let's say
use money, because that's the thing that
okay,
I feel like most spiritual people struggle with.
Your bank balance is always just getting by.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of us.
Yeah.
How do you want it to be instead? You might want it to be, because we all speak differently to ourselves. So it comes down to you, but it might be something like money flows to me easily. No matter what my bank balance is at, I am abundant. Like, just something that is meaningful to you, how you want it to be instead. And then you need to repeat that way of being over and over again. So the best way to do that without PSYCH-K, without the muscle testing, without the practitioner, if we sort of incorporate those same principles that are used, it's whatever the negative is, or whatever it is you want to shift, whatever
Mhm.
it is that's not aligned with you at this moment in your life. Let's talk about money again. So my bank balance is always in negative at the moment, for example. I want it to be instead, I want it to be money flows to me easily. Okay. And we need to then start practicing saying that to ourselves over and over again. Okay. When you consider that everything is available for us in the field, that's waiting for us. Money flowing to us is waiting for us. We just have to align with that frequency of that coming to us. So when we start telling ourselves that new way of being over and over again, we start embodying that version of us because we are taking action steps accordingly, then it becomes our new reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not complicated. It's just a matter of doing the same, saying the same thing to yourself over and over and over again, because it forms a belief, and it's the beliefs that run our life.
Yeah.
Okay? Because our beliefs form our perceptions, and our perceptions dictate how we act in the world. Okay, so once we keep repeating that over and over, it will download as a new program in the subconscious mind. And if we go to muscle test that, in a month, it's going to look different to when you start implementing those words, those frequencies into your life. So the best time to do it is to actually come up with that new way of being and repeat it to yourself as you are falling asleep at night, because this is the best time to reprogram the subconscious mind. And it's incredible what you can achieve when you just put your mind to these simple practices and keep telling yourself how you want it to be. Life shifts. I mean, if I can do it, if I can build multi-million-dollar companies from a place of alignment after having been through what I've been through in my childhood, then anyone can do it, right?
Yeah.
It's just the choices and how much you want to live in that frequency.
Do you also, when you're doing this as a practitioner, help people to tap into the feeling of the new belief, or
Yes.
is it just mental?
Well, it's mostly in PSYCH-K. If we're talking about PSYCH-K,
Yeah.
this is mostly about the hemispheres of the brain coming together. So the left and the right hemispheres, because we don't normally think about things from a whole brain perspective.
Right.
So that's instantly shifting the way we're thinking about this new way of being. And then at the end of a session, we normally set action steps. And those action steps need to be what you would want, how you see this coming to life for you. But when we're coming up with the new way of being, it always has to be emotionally charged to you. And that's why when people say, affirmation, say this affirmation over and over, that might not be emotionally charged to you. So we
Right.
need to make that new way of being emotionally charged to the individual. And they come up with the words, they come up with the statement the way they want it to be. Because we know that without the emotion, we don't live that way. So it's the emotion that triggers that. But it's not necessarily a protocol as part of PSYCH-K. However, the emotion does need to be in there. Me, as a holistic health practitioner, understand that emotions are the trigger to
Right.
creating that new life.
Yeah. What do you say to somebody who doesn't believe that it's possible for them, that's like stuck in, well, I call it stuck in the mud, when you're in it completely and you can't see anything else? Do you have any recommendations for listeners who are in that energy, that want to be able to shift to even believe that they could have the opposite of what their beliefs are telling them?
Yeah. Look, everyone's starting at a different place, and
Right.
we're all at a different frequency. We all have different awarenesses. Things drop for people mentally at different times. Um, so firstly, not thinking that you're stuck is a good
Right.
place to start, and not keep telling yourself you're stuck, because whatever we tell ourselves on the inside is what's going to be projected on the outside. So we want to avoid these words, these frequencies that keep us in that position as well. This is really important, because our internal dialogue creates our external reality. Ultimately, our life is a projector, isn't it, of what's going on inside. So firstly, we don't want to use those words. We're never stuck. So we are always moving. It's just sometimes we're not sure where we want to move and we're not aligned. We're not feeling that it's right for us. Something's generally not right. So, explore.
Yeah.
Explore the things that make you feel good. Understand, have a look around you of what you're putting in and on your body. And this comes from, the toxicity of not just food and alcohol or drugs or anything like that. I mean, these are massive, massive contributors. But if we're doing toxic things all the time, we're always going to feel like we can't move because we don't have the energy to move. So a
Right.
good place to start is to look at those things that are keeping the energy and the vibration down. Could be someone in your life. It could be anything, multiple. For me, it was everything. So I had to make massive changes to everything, right? But as you do, and as you get out and you commit, to yourself, to start making yourself feel better, you start feeling your vibration, you start feeling your frequency rise, and you start feeling better. And all of a sudden, things start coming to you that bring joy to your heart. So it's that place, it's the heart. We need to get out of our head, get out of those words, and come and drop into our heart space, because that's where we create from.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, I would say listen to the words that you're speaking to yourself. Look at the things around you. Where can you improve? Because when you improve the frequency, the things that are in your life, all of a sudden you're not going to feel stuck anymore. You're going to
Yeah.
have solutions. Things are going to come into your life. I can guarantee it, and it can happen instantly when you make the choice. You can make, like I could have made the choice to stay exactly where I was. But did I want that? No. Did I have
Yeah.
to make a choice to absolutely change? Yeah, I did. And that's absolute now. The past is the past. I have no, I don't feel connected to that. It's not, the past is gone. So if I
Yeah.
can keep living in the past and keep playing a victim of the past, or I can choose not to. And it's that simple. It's the choices that you're making. And if you are feeling stuck, do things that make you feel good. Connect with those things that make your heart space feel full.
Yeah. That's really important. I have a list I keep in my notepad on my phone of all the things that I know open my heart, all the things that I know shift my frequency or make me feel good. Even if it is only 5 minutes, I can expand upon that, right? It's moved me into another frequency. There's two things that I always say: what you speak about comes about, right? And you're never stuck, you're just stuck in a belief, right? And so it's once you realize that, then you can be like, okay, this is just a belief. What do I want to believe instead? And when you get curious, at least for me, I know this works. When you get curious, that's when you start seeing other points of view, other perspectives, and realize, oh, I'm not stuck. I was just stuck, fixated on this one thing, and I didn't pull back to see there's all these other options available to me.
Absolutely. Well, it's the belief of being stuck in itself, isn't it?
That's true too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And that we tell ourselves over and over that I have kids, life is busy, I'll just keep doing this. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. It's okay. It's okay. I'm stuck for now. No, you're not.
You just don't want to get uncomfortable and step outside of your box and try something
Unfortunately.
new. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. But look, and this is where we come into play, right? Just little bits of awareness, little bits of encouragement that will make that person think, okay, I'm actually not stuck. I'm choosing to be here, because
Yeah.
ultimately the past, the partner, the trauma, none of that is creating your reality. Only you are creating your reality in this present moment, because we only have the present moment.
Right.
So whatever it is that we're not liking, we can point that finger to ourselves and be brutally honest. And this is a big one, being brutally honest with yourself and sitting with yourself. and listening to the words that come up, listening to where we need to shift. And it doesn't have to be big. Like I said, it's a 1%. Notice something that doesn't make you feel good. Like if you're drinking alcohol every day, maybe, which I was, maybe cut it back to 2 times a week or something. Just make the shift, because you know what's not making you feel good. And
Yeah.
because those patterns, the automatic patterns are just, buried so deep within us, we keep doing the same thing over and over without realizing. But once we stand back and we realize that we are the ones ourselves and not pointing the finger at anything or anyone else, then at that point, that's when you make the choice. Do I keep doing this to
Yeah.
myself, or do I make a different choice to make myself feel better?
Right. And that comes with a lot of grief sometimes too, making
Yeah.
different choices, because that means that you might have to change your environment. You might have to change the people who are in your environment, right? And it's not easy. I remember when I went through my health changes, it was this feeling of like I have to do something different, but I didn't know what it was, and I kept doing the same thing because I was like, I don't know what to do. And I always called myself a steakatarian. I could eat a steak every day. Like I love steak. And I am back to that. But I needed to take a break from meat. I needed to take a break from dairy. I needed to clean out my body. My body was calling me to detox. And when I didn't listen, I remember one day sitting at the dinner table, and I took up, my husband at the time had made a steak, and it tasted disgusting all of a
Yeah.
sudden. And I was like, no. And then I noticed that happened with chicken. And then I noticed it happened with eggs. And I was like, all right, apparently I'm not supposed to be eating these things. So I finally just conceded and surrendered and said, okay, and decided to become a vegan, which I'd never been in my life. And shortly after that, I became aware of the fact that I was in stage 3 of adrenal fatigue. I thought I was, because I was just pushing, 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 and just handling way too much by myself. And went to many doctors. No Western medicine doctor was willing to help me. They all said I was crazy. There's no way you have all these symptoms. And I was in a thyroid storm. My adrenals were blown out. Like I could barely get out of bed. It was crazy. And after like the seventh doctor and me leaving in tears because they said I was crazy again, I found a holistic integrative doctor who was both a licensed MD and a holistic practitioner. And she ran the deepest panel I'd ever had in my life, said, yes, these are the things that are happening to you. Your intuition is correct. And we went on I became a fruitarian. So I ate only
Wow.
fruit, and I don't even know if potatoes are fruit, but I had potatoes in there.
Mhm.
And I lived that way for probably a year and a half, and literally started slowly just replacing all products that were chemical filled and getting rid of seed oils, and just slowly I got rid of caffeine. Like I just, like 1 week at a time, I would slowly reduce, reduce, reduce until it was gone. And it changed everything. Adrenal fatigue usually takes 3 to 5 years to heal. I started feeling more functional when I finished the fruitarian lifestyle. It still took me about another year and a half to completely come out of it, but I was able to function again after just changing my diet and reducing the chemicals. But that came, like you, from listening to the intuition and going, okay, this isn't just something that keeps popping up that is random. It's coming in because it's guidance, and it's
Yeah.
trying to tell me. And I've lived by that ever since, where it's like, what does my body want? And sometimes it wants meat and sometimes it wants fruit. And I just follow what it needs so that I stay healthy. And I rarely ever get sick anymore. Rarely
Amazing.
ever.
Well done to you. Yeah, that's big. That's huge. Yeah, well done.
How did your holistic journey go?
Mine's continuous. So, 80/20. There's going to be, let's all be honest, anyone that tells you they're brilliant every day is
Yeah,
lying.
right. I do 90/10, so
Anyone
I'm
that
there with
feels
you.
that they are going to do the things every single day is not being truthful. There's always, 80/20. when there are going to be days that you go out and you choose to have, the drinks, the food, all the rest of it, don't beat yourself up over it. Just the
Right.
next day, start again. So for me, it's just a continuous journey of reminding myself, choosing right. And also, I'm guiding a lot of others to do this. So I need to make good choices because I am what I am, and I'm not going to talk to you about something I'm not.
Yeah.
So, just wearing my heart on my sleeve all the time. But yeah, it's just about the consistency in everything, isn't it, that we do?
Yes.
Consistency is always the winner. And that's why I don't want people to feel like, oh my God, I got to change my life straight away. It's not going to happen. We can only probably take on, 2 to 3 things at the one time,
Right.
and keep being consistent in those things. And like I said, it leads you to the next. And I do exactly the same. I'm constantly, there might be, a couple of times a month that, I don't know, my kids or something will want some, processed potato chips or something. We call them chips. I'm not sure what you guys would call them.
Yep. Chips. Same.
Yeah, over there. But I look for the ones obviously without the seed oils. So I get
Yes.
avocado oil or olive oil. So those just little things you learn over time. And you follow people online that give you the advice, really. We live in such an incredible time. Our library's in our fingertips. So if there's anything we want to know, there's people who can support us. There's information out there. But I guess for anyone, for me, it always is and always will be the awareness of just the consistency, those 1% shifts every single day that create lasting transformation. So that's pretty much how I live my life. Just living consciously
Yes.
is so important. Not allowing, being aware also of when those, I guess, old patterns repeat themselves, and telling myself how I want it to be instead. And this is, daily for me, if not daily, at least every second day that I'm doing this work for myself.
Right.
Because for myself, I want to be the best version of myself that I can be in this lifetime. I want to touch as many people as I can in this lifetime to live in their own authenticity, their own soul-guided life. And for me, I remind myself that I need to be that, to receive that, to give that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just a journey. It's a beautiful journey, and falling in love with that journey, of knowing also and being honest with yourself that it's not going to be 100% of the time. There are people that do it. Some incredible athletes that I work with that are consistent all the time.
Yeah.
But for the majority of us, 80-20, I think is fair.
Yeah. I do 90-10, and I'm pretty dang strict with that and
Good
disciplined,
on you.
but I've never done well where I had to deprive myself. So knowing I have a 10% space to where if I want a slice of pizza, or if I do want to have a cocktail with dinner, I can do that because I'm only doing it a very small amount of the time. And the other thing for me is is I can have it without overindulging,
Yes.
because I used to eat my emotions, and so when I
It's
started
common. Common.
processing my emotions, I realized, oh, I can have a slice of pizza or two and not the whole pizza until I just can't, I can't digest anything, including my emotions. And so that was super helpful for me. But I love that you said fall in love with the journey, because I fell in love with how I felt eating whole foods and removing as I started to clean everything up. And I was a 6 pack a day, if not more, diet Mountain Dew drinker, which is like the worst of the worst. And I was completely addicted. I would have a pot of coffee a day. I would have 6 diet Mountain Dews. I had way too much caffeine running through my system. And I had to slowly reduce that until I got down to the end. I don't think now I could even drink a diet Mountain Dew. I think I'd probably throw up.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, people get overwhelmed because they try to change everything at once. And just pick 2 areas that you
Yeah.
want to make the changes and make those switches and start to notice how you feel better.
Absolutely. And it's incredible. I find it so incredible that once you start making those shifts
Hmm.
and you start feeling that, for me, I fall in love with the feeling of joy that I get in my heart when I'm feeling good. I
Yeah.
mean, feeling bad and low on energy is so crappy. Feeling like
Hmm.
that when you wake up and going to bed that way is horrible. But so many people just live that way because that's what they're used to, but you don't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
If you just make those little changes, then it's like things start opening up for you. Information will just show up somehow, somewhere about the next thing that you need to do or the next thing that you might need to, have a read about. It's just so incredible how it happens instantly when you feel when that frequency shifts a little bit, everything starts shifting. So it's
Yeah.
just, those, 2 to 3 things. If you can, maybe for some people, if we're talking about food, have a look at what's in your pantry. Just go in there, have a look, open it up.
See if it's living food.
Yeah. And majority of it, is not going to be great. So you've got a couple of choices here. You can keep eating and feeling like crap,
Yeah.
or you can grab it all and throw it out. I mean, not a lot of people are going to want to waste food, but you can then not buy it again.
Yeah, you can start replacing it once it's gone with
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah, head over to the local organic shop maybe and have a look at what's in there. Even if you don't buy anything, just have a browse and have a look at what things you interest you, what you might want to try instead. Just
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
And everything is energy, and all energy has a frequency. So if you think about processed food, especially, or seed oils, it it's completely bioengineered. It doesn't have it's not going to have a high frequency. It's
No.
chemical based, which it just isn't. And I was not somebody that lived that way prior to 2015. And when I started making those shifts and changes, I was blown away at how different I felt and how more alive I felt than ever before.
Yeah.
And again, same like you said, just small 2 or 3 things, to change and notice. And then the other thing would be is we all know the foods that we eat, and afterwards we're like, oh, I just feel so heavy. I feel so bloated. I feel whatever. That should be your sign that this isn't in alignment with you. Your body's having a hard time processing it.
Yeah. And this is just it. It's the choice to listen or not.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's like if we think about our programs like a track that you're constantly driving over and over, and those ruts are going to keep getting deeper and deeper the more that you're, driving over the tracks. Those
Repeating it.
ruts are
Yeah.
going to get real deep. It's similar. So the programs we've been doing for a lifetime aren't necessarily going to be easy to shift. But once we make the conscious choice, and I think a thing I read once, and I can't remember where, but once you're aware, you can begin dismantling, and that awareness can come from the bloating in your belly.
Yeah. Yes.
So everything's something
Self-awareness is always the
always.
first key. Always the first key.
Yeah, so important. And again, it's choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I know that I'm the creator of my reality, fully and solely responsible for the life that I live, whether it's my bank account, whether it's my business, whether it's my food choices. I'm responsible for that, not genetics.
Yes.
Genetics has nothing to do with it, only very minimal. We didn't inherit genetics, we inherited habits. Okay.
Yes.
So we need to make the conscious choice to want to feel good. It's that
Yeah.
simple. Just to want to feel good, energetic, to go get that life, to go get that dream, not just scroll on your phone hoping, wishing that one day that can be you. It can be you. You just need to make the choice to be that and embody that every single day in all that you do.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, what most people don't understand is despite your circumstances, you still have a choice in your state of being.
Hmm.
And when you realize your circumstances don't create anything, your state of being is what creates. The circumstances that you're sitting in are based upon past beliefs and actions that you took. And so if you're in the present moment, if you're staying present, you can choose to change your state of being and sustain that, make that choice every single day, you're gonna create something different. I don't remember where I heard this from. I think I don't remember who it was, but they said if you can do that for 6 to 8 weeks of just consciously working on your state of being and choosing how you want to feel, regardless of what's happening, you will create a completely different reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what does it look like to work with you? Because when you're talking about reprogramming people for health and wealth and all and love and all of these things, is it just using PSYCH-K? Is it a combination of a bunch of different things?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, and I'm not sure if we discussed this, but I'm actually not seeing any one-on-one clients. I'm shifting
Okay.
my whole, I guess, the way I do things. What I am doing is creating tools. There are a couple online already. You can get them in the link in bio. Creating new websites, everything. Everything is transforming for me yet again. Because as much as I learnt from seeing people one on one,
Yeah.
what I didn't want any longer was for someone to wait for me, to make an appointment for me, with me, sorry, when something comes up,
Yeah.
because our life is our responsibility.
Right.
So instead of you coming to see me, I'm creating tools for you to create an awareness in yourself, to make the shifts for yourself when they come up. So obviously there's a couple of things online at the moment. I'll be creating groups now that people can come. So there's always going to be support. There's also
Yeah.
a book coming. So it's sort of like a memoir with 7 steps, 7 days to reprogram the subconscious mind as a challenge inside the book. So I use my life journey, my life experience. I'm going really deep as well. Nothing's held back. As much as I don't want anyone sitting in the emotion attached to my upbringing, it's
Yeah.
important for me to share, for you to realize that she shifted it, so can I.
Yeah.
So it is going deep, and I'm getting real raw about companies that I had to close, companies that I built. So it's actually quite extensive. So I'm putting a lot of energy into that at the moment. But in the meantime, there are a couple of things I got online. One is the theta meditation, which is so important. It changed my life, and I had to create
Really?
my own. So
How
theta
did it change your life?
yeah, so theta meditation, I mentioned briefly, I think we did a few minutes ago, but it's as you're falling asleep, we enter theta, and as we're
Okay.
waking up. So as
Yes.
we fall asleep at night, we enter theta brainwaves, and this is the time that a subconscious mind is most suggestible to change. And
Yeah.
that's why I made the suggestion to find a new way of being and repeat it over and over to yourself as you're falling asleep. Okay, something
I
much.
utilize that every night of my life because it's
Yeah,
like that is
and
a
that's probably
no-brainer.
why you can do and be so aligned with what your routine is every day.
Yeah.
It changed my life because, like I said, at one point in business, I wasn't able to solve any problems anymore. My resilience just plummeted. I didn't have the energy to do it.
Yeah.
And as I started listening to theta meditations, all of a sudden I started waking up with ideas, solutions. I was getting into flow. My frequency was shifting. So I created my own, and it's all about going into restorative sleep and waking up solution based to any problems we might.
Love that.
So that's on the link in bio. That's going to be part of my website as well. It'll be part of everything I do, every event I run, everything I speak about. If you don't have the meditation, you can do it yourself. It's self-hypnosis. Okay, you
I
don't
created my own. I literally, well, and
absolutely.
I mean, obviously, I have the tools because I do meditations and transmissions for my own people. But I was like, why am I not utilizing this for myself? So I recorded just what you said in the beginning, like, what is the opposite of what of what I'm believing now? And I did four at a time, and I just repeated them for 45 minutes. And so every night when I go to sleep, I listen to that, and then it moves into a subliminal that runs
Yeah.
all night.
It's literally my medicine.
Yeah.
literally when I couldn't sleep, like I don't think there was years in my life that I maybe slept 2 to 3 hours a night because I was always problem focused. Everything was a problem. I'd go to bed with a problem. I'd wake up with the same problem. And obviously, as the bigger your companies get, the bigger your problems seem to get,
Yes.
right? When you look at it as a problem, that is, and not a
Yeah.
lesson. So again, it's perception, but we're
Yeah.
talking about this at the moment. So it changed my life. It literally changed my life. Didn't need sleeping tablets, didn't need anything anymore. I woke up with a solution, and that was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Where has this been all my life? So I have one of those, and I think
Okay.
it's a really powerful tool. You can create your own. You can take, just the steps we've even spoken about in
Right.
this podcast and create your own. Just use your phone. I've done it many times where I've just recorded myself without judgment. Just record yourself. Don't sit there. And this is another thing I tell people to record their own. They sit in the judgment of they're not speaking properly, they're not doing it right.
Right.
Just you. It's just you. It's got to be emotionally charged to you.
Hmm.
And if you keep listening to that, you will shift very quickly because this is the time that your subconscious mind is most suggestible to change.
Yeah.
The greatest in the world use this. It's just not spoken about. Einstein, Edison, all of these guys were using theta
Yeah.
stage to create. I think I can't remember which one. I think it was anyway. They used to use a stone and hold it. I think it was Edison in his hand, and as he'd be falling asleep, he would drop it. So he knew he was at in theta stage, and that's when he'd create. So, it's just incredible what you can do at this time. So there's that, and there's also a meditation. It's like a book that I've got online at the moment, which is a very useful tool. It's sort of all the protocols of PSYCH-K. And it's just coming up with a new reality. So, going deep into the meditation and coming up with your future, how you want it to be, and setting some action step. And it's a really simple process that guides you on how to do that. So I'm all about the tools now. I'm all about the tools, events, support, like planning to run some events in Dubai next year with some,
Oh, awesome.
yeah, crypto traders actually. So women that are starting, wanting to start crypto trading. Yeah, I just feel like this, or not necessarily crypto, it can be any sort of trading, but this is really important in my perspective to break free from that matrix and the grind of 9 to 5 and make really good money. But
Yeah.
understanding that there's a holistic health attached to that because a big part of it is actually emotional intelligence,
Yes.
subconscious blocks. But this can be attributed to anything. But yeah, so lots of things coming up at the moment. Everything's getting re-engineered, redesigned, which I'm super excited about actually.
That's awesome. I love that you said in the book that you wrote, I assume it's not published yet.
No, I'm in the process of actually writing,
Okay.
looking at about May next year
Okay.
yeah.
I love that you're going deep. I just finished earlier this year my third solo book, and this one, it's pretty dark at times because I went so deep into my story and all the trauma that happened to me. And in my second book, I didn't do that because I had this fear of nobody wants to read that, nobody wants whatever, and there was still a lot of healing that needed to take place, right? This one, it was like, no, I'm going deep. And the reason why I did was because I feel like most of the books out there don't do that.
No.
And it's not about dragging somebody into my story. It's about them reading it and emotionally releasing for themselves through my story and seeing that like I came from some of the worst and look where I am today and this is what I did to get here. Like here's what happened. These are the patterns I found. This is what I did. This is where I am. And I'm like, I just don't see that enough out there in the world. We're not being real. Like,
Mm.
we need to
We're
be
not.
real
The world
and
isn't
raw.
real. Yeah. The world, unfortunately, if you're just looking at it from a 3D perspective, isn't um, real, is it? Everyone's
No.
fake. You see things
Everything
online
you see
that
is
everyone's
fake.
happy all the time and they're, sitting in yachts and drinking champagne, which is all great. You can have any of that, but
Yeah,
how much of it is actually real?
right.
Let's be
It's a
honest.
highlight reel.
Yeah. So they know how to market. So
Yeah,
it's just about, again, awareness, isn't it?
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
but going deep, I think, is important in this world right now. Yeah, we need to get beyond, I guess, what the majority are seeing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I'm sure you agree with. Like, you don't have to buy into anything that's happening.
No.
Like, I think I know so many people that get trapped in, well, I can't do this. And COVID was a big one of that. Oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job. And I'm like, that's a choice.
Mm.
There's always other jobs. Are you going to abandon yourself for this?
Mm.
And that goes with anything in the world. So everything you see doesn't mean just because everybody else is doing it, you have to do it. You have to be that 1%. You have to be that the small portion of the world that says, no, I'm going to live the way that I want to live and feels good to me. And nobody owns you. Nobody rules you. You get
No.
to decide. And that goes along with how you let things affect you, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm sure you agree with that, but that's like we have to break away from societal programming. I think that's the hardest one for people is societal
It
programming.
is because they're constantly on the scroll.
Yeah.
Constantly sitting there having their coffee, which is fine. I love coffee, by the way. It's not about the coffee, but just sitting there and allowing your energy to be consumed by what's happening in your scroll.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do, and I fall victim to it sometimes too. Uh, but I know when some like recent events that have happened in the US, not going to be specific, but there's been some that have really affected me.
Hmm.
And you feel yourself getting consumed by it, consumed by both sides of the story.
Yep.
The theories, the this, the that.
It
Where do
becomes
I
a rabbit
believe?
hole.
How do I believe? Then you find yourself arguing with someone online. It's like, no. So at that point, that's it for me, done.
Yeah.
Because
Check
I
out,
feel
shift your
like I'm not just
frequency.
looking, I'm actually consuming now.
Yeah.
It's affecting my life.
Yeah.
And I can't control that, but I can control what I choose to think, see. So it's a limit for me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a hard thing to do because I think it's so easy and accessible that it's easy
Hmm.
for us to just grab and have a look and just get consumed. But your energy does go into it, and
Yeah.
you start feeling it. Remember, everything is energy, and you start
Hmm.
feeling that way, and it's like, no, at that point you need to be aware. And
Yeah. I
COVID,
can literally feel
yeah,
my frequency drop if I spend too much time on
instantly,
social media.
yeah. I agree. And COVID was huge for this, we know.
Yeah.
And those of us who at that point thought differently to the majority, it was hard.
It was very hard.
It was really hard. However, the way I like to see it is there's some of us that are here, and a lot of us feel it, and we're here to create timelines for humanity.
Yeah.
So having what the way I perceive it is having the past I had was all building me up to the person, the energy that I am today, to be able to be that person that stands in my truth, that stands in my power, that speaks what I believe, that speaks when things aren't fair. And when I get shut down, I don't worry about it too much because that's fine. But that comes with the belief again that this is who I am
Yeah.
and this is what I need to do. So, without getting deep into that because that's the past, but the perception for me is that everything's always been a lesson and there are those of us strategically placed, I believe, all over the globe to create these shifts in timelines for humanity because now look at it. Look at
Yeah.
everyone now.
Gosh, from
Not everyone,
2020
yeah,
now,
not
like it's so
everyone,
different.
yeah, not everyone shifted, but
No.
there has been a vast majority that have gone, aha. So
Yeah.
this is the way it is. They may not admit it, but they do.
Yeah, the shift from 2020 to 2025 is has been like, to me, it's like five different lifetimes happened. Like I've seen so
It's
many
been
things
big.
go mainstream, so many people shift. But what you said, I just want to validate and reiterate how much I agree with that, because in the beginning, sometimes we get stuck on this idea that we have to convince other people to be like us, and we don't. Like my mission is be the change. All you have to do is be a walking example of what's possible. It's up to that person to
Always.
tap into that. Now, if someone asks you for assistance or you're in this industry like we are and people are paying you, that's obviously that's different, right? You give them your information.
Yeah.
But I quit offering things to people and just listened and accepted them for who they were and showed the example of who I am. And
Mm.
if they had questions, I would answer them. But I quit years and years ago trying to convince anybody to be like me. And I'm just like,
Too
you,
hard.
you
It's
go be
too
you. I don't have
hard.
energy for that.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually it hurts us and it hurts our it lowers our vibrational frequency. And the thing for me is, and this is a choice again, I can choose to get consumed by all of that.
Yeah,
But I know that humanity right now needs more of us in high frequency
right.
because what we put out there, is what everyone else is going to feel. So if the majority of us, which we saw and felt back in 2020,
Hmm.
are at that low fear vibration, that frequency of fear and control,
Yeah,
that's what everyone was feeling because that's what the collective was feeling,
yeah,
right? So there needs to be more of us in a high frequency of, gold light, of love, of joy, of authenticity, because that's what's going to ripple across the collective, across
yes.
humanity. And that's where I choose to be. And that's
I
where it will always be.
I love that. That's absolutely the truth. And it doesn't mean there's not anything you have to really do as long as you're emanating that frequency. I personally loved 2020 to 2022. I traveled everywhere. I was like, nobody's going to get on a plane. I'm getting on that plane. You know, I just lived my best life, and people they would get so defensive. I'm like, "Well, I'm not hurting you. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
showing you like it doesn't matter what they say. You can still go out and live your best life. Like there's nobody's stopping you but you and what
Yeah.
somebody
Absolutely.
told you, you know?
Yeah.
So again,
Absolutely.
don't look at the outside world and be like, "Oh, I have to abide by this limit." Is that your limit? That's their limit. Like, what's your limit, you know?
Yeah.
And do you even if you believe you have one? So I love that you are somebody who believes in being the change, because that's really at the end of the day all we ever have to do.
Yeah. And it's the same with practitioners, and you would know this. Someone can come to see you, and another reason why I shifted how I'm offering
Yeah.
myself or my services is if someone's not at the frequency to shift or to change, it doesn't matter who you go to see.
No.
If you're not ready for that shift, for that change, nothing's going to happen.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter how much money you pay, it doesn't matter who you go and see, but we've all been so programmed to believe that our transformation, our healing is external. We've got to go see a doctor, we've got to go take this, we've got to go do that in order for us to shift, to heal, whatever, however you want to refer to it.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's actually coming from within. If
Hmm.
you ain't ready for that, it's not happening.
Right.
So someone
100%.
can come up, oh, I came to see you 3 times and nothing's working. Really?
Mm,
Really? Because you're still in the same belief that you're not going to change.
right.
You're
And
still
I always tell my clients, like when they are like, "Oh my God, this has been so," like people who go through mentorship, like, "Oh, I'm so different. I think so different. I'm so thankful." And I said, "I didn't do nothing.
no, you did it all.
I,
Yeah,
I'm just guiding here. Like you're the one who implemented, you're the one who decided, you're the one that made the choices. I basically kept you accountable and guided you, you know, and held the space for you to hold the
that's
higher
right.
frequency for
100%.
you.
Mhm.
So nobody outside of you can fix you. It
Right. So
always
it's
comes
really
within.
incredible. And again, I feel like this podcast has been a lot about choice.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's coming down, and I love that we don't script anything. I don't work with people, like I mentioned,
No.
that give me questions. I'm not interested. Whatever comes through, comes through. Whatever we need to speak about, we speak about. And whoever's listening to this needs to hear it. It's a
Yeah.
ripple effect, right? Um, but I feel like a lot has come down to choice, and that we're responsible for the life that we're creating. And I think that's a really important message, and one that I speak about often. That change happens because you want it to happen.
And I love it. It is simple. And we overcomplicate everything as humans, don't we?
Absolutely. But this isn't, look, without going deep into,
Yeah.
but this is intentional. They don't want us to think it's easy
Of
because we're
course.
so freaking powerful. We are so powerful. Look at how much can change when we come together. We are so powerful. We are infinite. We are energy. That means energy has no limits.
No, none.
Right? But if we believe that, if too many of us believe that, hell is going to be crazy beautiful out there, right?
Right.
Yeah, but healthy doesn't make money. Yeah, yeah. Collective doesn't make money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So without
Yeah.
getting too deep into that, it's not what this is about. But yeah, it's just incredible how powerful we actually are, and how quickly you see changes when you're open, or see synchronicities happening as
Yeah.
soon as you make a choice.
Well, and I always go back to the when people have a hard time understanding the creating your reality, I always say, well, if you look in a mirror and you're frowning, you're not going to see smiling. In order to see that reflected back to you, you got to smile, you know? And so I'm like, that's what the reality is. It's basically a mirror. It's a projection of what you're putting out. But
Mm.
I love that your message is about simplicity and choice because again, it's just a choice. What do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? You are in the power of that choice.
Mhm.
No matter what you think or say, nobody can direct your state of being ever. You're the one who's in charge of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another important thing that just sort of came through when you were speaking that is really being paying attention to the words that you speak when you are in that flow, when when you have an idea, listen to the words like I hope, I wish. That's the first step to not succeeding.
That's lack. Those are words,
Am.
lack. Yeah.
Yeah, that I am, I have, these are the thing, like we really need to pay attention to those words because they do create, I wish is the first step to saying, well, it's never going to be who I am. You keep
Right.
yourself completely separate from the life
Yeah.
because you keep saying, I'll start tomorrow or I wish, but tomorrow never seems to come.
No.
I wish is keeping you absolutely separate from your dream life.
Yeah.
When you start embodying that version of you, when you start, I guess, creating beyond the 3D, uh, you see things happen, but
Yeah.
that awareness is really key. The words, I used to catch myself saying words all the time, like, oh, well, that's not going to help me get there.
No.
So that internal dialogue, as even just sitting with yourself sometimes, if you're in a certain situation, sit with yourself in peace. This is in silence. This is another thing we don't do because we feel like we've been told to go, go, go all the time. Sit with yourself and listen to that dialogue that comes up, and you'll
Just
be very,
observe.
yeah,
Observe it.
exactly, just observe without judgment. But you'll soon realize that your external reality is a complete reflection of the things
Yeah.
that you're speaking to yourself. So powerful. Again, so simple.
Right.
We keep telling ourselves that we don't have 15 minutes to sit with ourselves.
Right.
Find the
Everybody can create that. Everyone can
time.
create 15
Make the
minutes.
choice. You're okay to go and, I don't know, shopping all day to buy things that you don't need, but you can't find 15 minutes in your day to listen to your thoughts, to create a reality that is beyond, you know, beyond what you could have probably ever imagined. So, yeah.
Or even just implementing and starting with the nighttime routine, because that's a no-brainer. It's not taking any extra
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah,
really.
well, that's where I started, and that's where
Yeah,
I noticed the biggest shifts for me. Absolutely. Like you're falling asleep, instead of scrolling on your phone as you're falling asleep, another super important point is whatever you are thinking about in the last 5 minutes before bed is exactly what you're going to wake up thinking about. And I think we can all relate to the point that we've gone to bed with a problem and woken up in with the same problem more often than not, waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. thinking about that
right.
problem, then wondering why we're waking up with the same problem and feeling like crap the next day because our
Yeah,
energy is so low. It
yeah,
was so simple and
yeah.
so effective that, yeah, it's medicine.
It is. Small shifts and changes add up over time. I call it stacking. And you
Yeah,
just start stacking things. And the biggest reason why, because I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person. I've always been that way. So I do things a little
yeah,
bit extreme. And that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. But I noticed the majority of my clients that did not work for, right? And so I started developing, saying it was stacking. So let's start with one to two, maybe three things at the most. And once
absolutely.
those things become automatic for you, now we can start stacking on new things.
Yeah.
But to think that anybody can change their diet, change their programming, do this, that all at the same time, you're just going to create failure. And then you're going to feel defeated and you're going to feel even worse. You don't need to do that. And I know people think, well, I want it to happen faster. Well, we all know the story of the tortoise and the hare. Who won? The
Mm,
tortoise,
mm,
right? So
absolutely.
slow and steady, slowing down, being mindful, especially about being in the present moment, like you talked about, where only the space of change can happen. That's going to get you there faster than trying to race or jump or force ahead.
Hmm. Yeah. Because in the I guess when you are falling in love with the journey, it's the moments that the moments that are sometimes quiet, of slow, where you learn the most because
Yeah.
you actually absorb like you actually have that aha moment when you're
Yeah.
actually stopping. So I'm opposite to you. I'm a stacker. I if you tell me, oh, you've got to go and do all this at once, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Absolute resistance from me. Like, no, I'm not doing all that. I don't have the time to do that. I have
Right.
kids, I have businesses. I can't fit all that into my life. So I am a stacker, or I'm the 1% every day of implementation of consistency. That's who
Yeah.
I am. And I can do that. I know that I can do that. And I do like my chocolate and I do like the things. I do like a glass of wine and I do like, sometimes to have food. That's okay.
Yes.
So when we do those things, we can't look at them as failure. We are ultimately here to have a human experience.
Right.
So we want to taste things, we want to feel things, we want to experience things. That's why we chose to come here, right? So
Right.
um but a majority of the time, I know what makes me feel good. So I know what
Right.
my choices mostly need to be. So yeah.
So one thing that's coming up right now that I want to add to this, and I kind of laugh because I remember this client. This client was probably, God, 8 years ago. Um, she had a problem with getting up in the middle of the night and eating food out of the fridge
Oh
and during the
wow.
day she was on this strict diet and all of these things, and then she'd wake up in guilt and shame, and the cycle would repeat. And I remember the guidance that came through for her was every time you do something that's out of alignment for you, essentially, I want you to say, I'm choosing to do this. I'm choosing to sit and scroll. I'm choosing to get up and eat foods I know that don't make me feel good. And it shifted her really fast, because when you say the words out loud, and, I'm choosing this, all of a sudden you're like, am I choosing this? Like, why am I choosing this? So
Mm,
I just wanted to add that in there because it popped in and I thought, oh, as we're talking about choice, like even if you're doing something that isn't in your well-being or, whatever, just start saying, I'm choosing to do this and see how much of that you actually agree with or
Yeah.
how your body reacts to it.
Yeah. I had a client a little bit opposite to what you're saying, and it's so interesting. That these opposites come up. A little bit earlier, I was saying about how something has to be emotionally charged to you.
Yeah.
So I'm choosing for that person worked. Whereas for someone else, that might feel like, yeah, I'm choosing. That's okay. It's not emotionally charged.
True.
It's not going to shift their reality. I had a lady come to me, and she was drinking wine absolutely every day. And her new way of being, her choice of words of affirmation of new way of being was wine makes me sick.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So she repeated and literally because when you believe something, biology of belief, I'm not sure if you've looked into
Yes.
that, but it literally creates the shifts, right? So when she started drinking wine after repeating this so often, it started making her feel sick even after just one sip. So she stopped drinking wine.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it just goes to show that different words work for different people. So just be
absolutely.
aware of that. You might not want to choose wine makes me sick. You might choose what you said as a new way of being.
Right.
I'm choosing to do this and it hurts me. Just what are your words? What
Right.
how is this going to what feels good to you? What makes you feel like it's going to shift your reality? It doesn't have to make sense to me, but it has
Yes.
to make sense to you.
And I love that addition because it's so true. What works for one person isn't going to work for another. And you're
You'll
the
have
one who
different
knows your
beliefs.
vocabulary. You know what your beliefs are, and you have to
Yeah.
work within those parameters.
Mm.
So I love that. Well, then the question that I always ask towards the end, and I think you've already answered it somewhat, but I want to see if you have a different response. If you only could say one message to the collective or to the world, you only could say one message that would make the biggest impact, what would that be?
That you create your reality. And it's not, like I said, not the past, not your partner, not the trauma. You are responsible for the life that you create, and you make them shifts right now in this present moment because anything that has ever happened to us in our life has only ever happened in the present moment.
Yes.
So you are responsible. Make good choices for yourself. Do things that make you feel good. You don't have to live in lack, in stuck, in anything that you don't want to. It comes down to you making those choices for yourself. And I hope you do because I wish joy upon everyone. I want you to understand that your creation comes from your heart space. And when your heart space feels full and full of joy, everything is limitless. We are
Right.
limitless. We are energy. We can create anything that we desire. There are no limits.
I love that. So let people know where they can access these beautiful tools of yours and where they can follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, they are in links in my bio on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm sure you'll link
Yes.
on the notes. So just jump in there. If you need to connect with me to ask me questions, jump in to Messenger or DM me. For now, there will be groups, but I'm more than happy to help you one-on-one with any questions in relation to the tools I've developed so far. But there's lots more coming, which I am so excited about, that I can't wait to share with the world to shift frequency of humanity. Uh,
Yeah.
of the collective. That's what it's all about for me. And I understand that that's what I'm here to do in this lifetime.
Yeah. I love that. Well, all of her information will be in the description box below. So go give her a follow so that you can be the first to know when her new projects that she's working on, new groups and stuff are available, and your book, which will probably be sometime next
And my
year.
events I'm super excited about because these are going to be never before done as far as I can see. So these are
Because they
going,
feel like business meets
yeah.
holistic
Because,
environment kind of
yeah,
thing happening.
yeah, so it's more so independence, and leaving that grind life behind that we're
Right.
so programmed to be, not having to wear a watch anymore because it doesn't matter
It doesn't.
because time doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Um, but being independent, making good money, but understanding that abundance comes not just from your bank account. Abundance comes when you're present in all parts of life.
Yeah.
And, I find a lot of, myself and a lot of people that have been in my life and a lot of people that I've worked with, once their bank balance is at a certain level, they're happy. But then when they start looking, they see that a lot of things in other parts of their life are falling apart. So, it's all intertwined. Having money
Yes.
and being present is important, and having a good relationship and being a mother and whatever it is. But, we need all of it, and that's what creates our abundance.
Yeah.
So just really honing in on the importance of having it all and being okay with it and not being guilty. And that's our, I guess, birthright.
And knowing that you can have your cake and eat it too. Like you
Yeah.
can have it all.
Yeah.
And you just have to start somewhere, but you can have it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
absolutely. And I'm
that.
so excited I think there's just so many of us coming together from
Yes.
different parts of the globe that, feel the same, and we have the same mission, and it's just beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
We're building a network of light.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your
Yes.
time today. I really appreciate it.
I loved it. It was such a good conversation. So once again, all her information is in the description box below. Please check her out if you are intrigued by our conversation today. And I will see you guys in the next episode.
Hey, thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by JohannaBurkhardt.com, where it's time to defy the limits of your mind and step into your multidimensional mastery. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. See you next time.